Welcome, race fans, for the Kickin' the Tires 200 here in the heart of Richmond. We are excited to get going. Race number 17 of the Belly Up Cup Series. We are excited to get going. The final race of these drivers' championship hopes to make it into the final four. We are joined today with David Huckleberry, the producer here, giving you these wonderful sights from this 3/4 mile track, D-shaped oval. Joining me today is David Westergreen, my co-announcer, and myself, Gerald Campbell. We are excited to get this going for you to find out who is going to be our final four, who is going to be able to go for a chance at a championship, and overall get to enjoy some short track racing, of course. This is what our championship hopefuls look like. The drivers in blue are the drivers that are locked in. That's Matthew Weeks and Tyler Fody for Pro Edge and Lake Norman. Oh, opposite. Yeah, sorry, green. You had him on the other side. Green is the ones that are locked in. Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle are the ones locked in. The ones in blue are the ones currently in based off of their point standings as they run right now. That is Matthew Weeks and Tyler Fody. The ones in orange are the ones that are going to be looking to try to find a way to either point their way in or more than likely have to try to win their way in to take one of those final four positions. Right now, 9 drivers are what is our playoff look like. Qualifying has just wrapped up. We're about to go through the field here with Gerald and Dave. Starting from the pole position, Tate Lytle got it done. Won it last week, now comes here to get the pole here at Richmond. In front of Trey Holmes, going to be qualifying in second. Tyler Fody getting a good qualifying spot here tonight in third. Ethan Stanley getting some good qualifying runs in lately. Starting in the fourth position. Probably race favorite if you were to talk to the competitor. Scott Crump going to be starting from the fifth position. Ryan Gable going to be starting from the sixth. Matthew Weeks starting seventh. Ethan Burrell eighth. Jesse Racimus ninth. David Tooker 10th. Michael Hosek 11th. And Nick Massey starting in the 12th position.
Starting 13th will be Chad Frankenfield in this one. Starting in 14th will be 2000 Busch Series champion Jeff Green. Starting 15th will be, in all likelihood, the 2024A Belly Up Cup Rookie of the Year Justin Wadsworth. In 16th, Rockingham winner Johnny Thomas. 17th will be Justin Vandermarl alongside Joshua Personette in 18th. Brent Jones will start 19th. Cheers to him. And Hunter Smith will start in 20th. Joshua Clark will start in 21st. With Gavin Hibbs starting 22nd, our Talladega winner. Ty McIntosh will start 23rd, and Wyatt Canadle will roll from 24th.
25th position is Kyle Hanshaw, 26th, Dustin Durer. Jordan Owens, 27th, Andrew Rucker, 28th, Ryan Scholl, 29th, Michael Goodman starting from the 30th position. 2 drivers that are starting way farther back than they would probably feel comfortable with, trying to come home with a win here tonight. It's going to be Nick Indelicato in 31st, Garrison Hogan in 32nd. Mark Rabella starting in the 33rd position. Seth Rawls, 34th. Chase Cabry is going to be all the way back there in 35th, one of his runoffs for the Cup Series. And Chris Stouffer, 36th. Richie Hearn will be starting in the final spot here tonight in 37th position. We have 200 laps here tonight, folks, to settle it out short track style. So that means there's going to probably be a little beating and banging, maybe a little shoving. Maybe a little yelling on the microphones from some of the drivers, but overall for here, a lot of excitement for us.
Absolutely. Richmond, one of those tracks, it's kind of running a little bit poorly in real life, not doing so hot, but a challenging track on the sim for these guys who are going to kind of be all over each other tonight. There should be multiple groups of racing, but we've heard from multiple drivers that track is extremely loose tonight, very difficult to handle the car on corner entry. These guys are going to have to take it gingerly, race the track and not each other a little bit. And if there's one thing we've seen from the series, it's once we get into that kind of scenario, it gets a little bit difficult for these guys to keep it green. So hopefully they do.
Absolutely. Pace car is going to make it one more lap around, and then we will be going green. 17 races gonna be down, and the season's almost coming to a close. But the storylines are not done. These drivers are yet to make it be known who is going to be the favorite going in to the final race of the championship. Right now, 2 are decided, and then the rest are all hopefuls.
Right.
So now we got. I was just about to say. Right now we've got a driver starting in the first and second position that really don't have anything other than winning to look forward to for this race.
Yep, those guys 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Those are the hungry ones right now. Keep your eye on early in this race.
Well, the pace car is down. We will be going green here at Richmond, where the racing gets good and the good get racing. We're green. As already Tyler Fody looking to take the outside. What a jump by Tyler Fody from the 3rd position. To go from behind Tate Lytle to beside him coming out of the turn. Not able to get it done, but definitely a really good jump start there for Tyler Fody.
Yep, bringing his Lake Norman teammates right there along with him. Scott Crump now by Trey Holmes for 3rd, and that'll be Ethan Stanley working for 4th. Ryan Gable working for 5th. So that whole Lake Norman quad group there is going to try to sneak on by the 88 car of Trey Holmes, who's really qualified quite well this season, but hasn't been able to keep that pace once it comes to the race. He tends to fall back a little bit, even though he started on the front row a number of times this season.
The words from the drivers earlier in practice was loose, loose, loose. So these drivers are, as Ethan Burrell makes a little bit of contact with the outside wall, are looking to try to maybe get a few laps down with old tires. It is a little hard to handle. So you may see these drivers play a little bit caution at the beginning part of this. Now if we get a late stage restart, that's going to maybe amp it up just a little bit more.
Right, and they did keep take care of each other there on that initial start. So props to all our drivers there in this one. I do want to look back at our 2 playoff drivers that are outside the top 10, right? You see the colored numbers over here on the ticker. There's 2 of them down there in the 20s. Garrison Hogan starting way back in 24th, and Nick Delicato starting 31st. He did miss last week, the driver of the 10, Nick Delicato. He is in an absolute must-win situation. Garrison Hogan can point his way in, but you don't want to start way in the back if you've got to earn some points.
Already seeing some 3-wide racing there in the middle part of the pack. Looks like the grooves are opened up. People can drive way up high if they need to. I believe back there in Smith and the 24 3 wide for a few laps there. They just now got it back down to 2, but already seeing some car sideways in the front straightaway. That was Jesse Racinas there. Almost lost it all the way around, but able to keep it going there. Again, looseness was what they were talking about, and we're already starting to see it here.
Yep, that was a big moment for Racinas, but that kind of highlights what Gerald was already talking about when it comes to the loose condition of that race car on corner exit. You got that power down into 4th gear. These guys are going to be shifting up to 5th at the end of the straightaways on these shorter runs. And, if you're in that higher RPM sector coming out of turn 4, you can definitely get some wheel spin and get out of control with that corner exit. And that's exactly what happened to Jesse Racinas right there.
We're seeing right now battle right there with Johnny Thomas trying to come back from an awful race week last week where he finished almost last. And this week having a little bit better run right now side by side with Gavin Hibbs there, one of our rookie contenders.
Poor Johnny, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't any part of his fault, his doing last week. Got sucked up into an early wreck and the car was damaged from there. And that's coming off of a 3rd place finish the week before. So Johnny, one of those things. Yeah, exactly.
Well, one of the drivers that is starting to make their way up there, Ethan Burrell, we saw him tap the wall, started in 8th up to 5th, making some runs up there. One of those drivers that has locked himself in with a win, nothing to lose here, trying to see if he can be able to race up there. One thing that I see a lot of times that happens here at Richmond, the leader is able to set the pace. And there is a big benefit from leading the race versus having to track behind him and essentially burn your stuff up. Right now we're seeing Fody getting loose behind Tate Lytle, trying to run the same line as him. And that's exactly what Tate Lytle wants to do. It's just to have the speed just enough to stay in front. And that's usually the key to success at Richmond here.
Yep. Tate is absolutely setting the pace. You notice the lack of a gap back to that 2nd place car. That indicates Tate Lytle's trying to save that right front tire, trying to save that right rear tire on corner exit. Keep up with those guys behind him. 3 Lake Norman Chevys right on his tail. No teamwork to help Tate Lytle out right now. And Scott Crump's kind of looking after his teammate, trying to say he wants to go after Tate Lytle for that race lead. He's getting awful close to Tyler Fody, and I believe Scott Crump is in a must-win situation this week at Richmond. Fody can point his way in, but Crump would need to win the race.
Absolutely. Scott Crump is a snowman in winter. This is his home. This is his place.
Here he
This
comes.
is exactly where he wants to be at to be able to make a deciding race at, and that's Richmond. He feels most comfortable here than any other track, and it's well known. His dominance is documented in multiple series here at Richmond. Making a move, made a pass on his teammate. Now it's going to try to set sail and get to Tate Lytle's back bumper and try to make quick work of him. The only thing for Scott Crump that he has to worry about is to make sure he doesn't shoot himself in the foot and not lose the race due to his own actions. We've seen already multiple times this season where he has lost out on assured victories with mistakes. So if he can be able to avoid that, this is a good shot for Scott Crump to win his way in to the championship 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And you notice that Tyler Fody let Scott Crump by. Think back to our battles the last couple of weeks between Fody and Matthew Weeks and some of those other guys where Tyler Fody was very much holding up that car on the bottom of the racetrack using that top groove. This week, he's all about letting that teammate go through. He's offering help to Scott Crump. Tyler Fody knows he just needs to finish ahead of that 11 car, and he will, get into that final round. The question, of course, is someone like Scott Crump able to take that spot from Matthew Weeks, and then what does that result in when it comes to the battle between Weeks and Tyler Fody for that 4th position? If a Scott Crump, Ethan Stanley, David Tooker, Garrison Hogan, if one of those guys is able to win the race, what does that look like?
Chad Frankenfield almost around big time. Everyone scattering. He got unbelievably sideways there and nearly lost it in front of the whole field. Oh, now he's pushing down.
It was our buddy.
Yeah,
it was our buddy Nick Massey.
Came down on Nick Massey again. Well, on somebody. He's still almost wrecked.
Hibbs. It's Gavin Hibbs. He's racing right now, but it looks like Nick maybe got a little bit of accidental contact there on corner entry. We know Nick. Nick's a pretty clean guy, spoken for by everybody in this group, and Chad Frankenfield obviously the victim there, but Massey's up into the top 10. Chad now back outside the top 15. And I don't know that there's going to be too much bad blood out of that one.
Yeah, but he is driving incredibly aggressive, considering that he should be pretty mellowed out after getting a win in the Xfinity Series on Monday. You think he'd be pretty satisfied, but no, he is going hard right now, trying to get around Jesse Racines. There's a big battle there. Oh boy, almost 3 wide. Chad's putting it in there. Oh, he sent Racines up the racetrack. Racines going around. And Racines is wrecked. It's going to be our first caution of the night, and that was on Chad completely. Oh, boy, what was that?
Not a great move, and you look who was right there. Garrison Hogan and Nick and Delicato were right behind that incident.
Oh my gosh. That was,
there's
no room there. What are you doing?
Well, that's Chad wide, Gerald. That's exactly the definition.
Chad wide. There was no...
This is Chad wide. When there's no room to make it 3 wide and Chad makes it 3 wide, that's Chad wide.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little aggressive there on exit.
Yeah. And you go back to what I said right at the start of this race, right? These guys have to race the racetrack. They cannot be, racing each other without respect. That's how you get involved in an incident. Look at how Gavin Hibbs gets through this.
He gets a little bit, but not like the 80 does. Vandermeer gets hit.
Poor Justin Vandermeer, completely innocent bystander in this one.
Oh, race control called it a racing deal.
They're on the payroll.
I don't know. I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah,
not at all. I mean, that's exit. I mean, where?
He's not there. He's not there until corner.
I mean, that's a throw.
Center of the corner.
He's throwing it in there.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Gerald. Not sure that I would have called that one that way, but hey, race controls, they got the job for the reason.
Yeah.
For a reason. So they're the ones making the calls.
Yeah, I just feel bad because it's early on. That's 2 cars destroyed from it. But it is what it is. Luckily, these cars are tanks. Vandermeer is going to go a lap down here, trying to get some of the damage fixed. These cars are racing on a short track, and we've seen these things take a hit at Daytona and Talladega at 200 miles per hour and still be able to keep going pretty well. So I would say that Those drivers aren't out of it by no means. May have a little bit of work to do now. But yeah, we were just talking about Chad Frankenfield just got a victory in the Xfinity Series. You thought he would be pretty chill.
Yeah, I mean, but that's Chad, right? Like we joke about it all pretty much all season, but a lot of the consternation comes from moves like that where, you know, maybe you can give a little blame to the car in front for leaving a hole for Chad Frankenfield because he'll take any hole that he's given, but it's,
Oh,
you
boy.
know, yeah, but it's a you know, it's about that respect, and we joke about it because Chad often races with that intensity that, you know, it at 22 laps into the race, you probably don't need to see.
Yeah. Well, we do have a little bit of shakeup. Some drivers have come down pit road, and I mean some, just a few. That would be Ethan Burrell. Some other drivers, Chad Frankenfield's come down pit road.
Garrison Hogan's down pit road as
Harrison
well.
Hogan came down pit road trying to make a strategy call to try to find some way to be able to get up to the front. It is a little difficult at Richmond to make headway. As we get back to the restart here
we go.
Now it's going to be the 56 on the inside, Scott Crump to the outside. 56 takes a lot lower restart than I expected. And then Scott Crump looks like he's going to be battling his teammates.
Chad Rucker's in the wall hard. That's going to be another caution.
Oh, Chad sent him.
I went look. So you're going to have to watch Garrison Hogan on this restart here, Dave. It started with Garrison, and I think the two of them in front reacted. Garrison makes a really good restart. He gets a huge jump, and above, you see right there, the checkup is Dusty Dewar getting back into Trey, which gets into Chad. Chad makes an erratic move, as you saw Garrison making this 3-wide move. I thought this was really impressive. He picked up 4 spots.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say, I mean, that was actually an incredible restart by him.
Yeah, but reacting behind, Chad and Rucker make contact, and this is where the contact comes because Chad tries to go to the bottom of the racetrack, and there's an Andrew Rucker right there.
Come on.
And Sonny D goes head on into the inside wall, and he gets shot up into the outside wall. And I don't know if he collected anybody, actually.
I think he left his
he did.
At Bristol.
Yeah. got Ryan Schultz and Wyatt Canadal. A couple more innocent bystanders in a wreck kicked off by the 15 car.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm interested to see. There we go. There's a tally.
There we go.
Yep.
He apologized to Trey for running into the back of him. He didn't apologize to Rucker.
No, he didn't apologize to Rucker on the radio. Another 3 cars wrecked, though.
Yep. Yeah. What's the penalty? Is there a penalty if you get 2 tallies?
Yes, you're supposed to.
Parked.
You're parked for the race. Yes.
So that could have been the end of Chad Frankenfield's night had race control gone the way we considered it.
We've seen Chad in the past appeal, and he probably would have peeled, which would mean that if he got a third,
then he's gone for sure.
Yeah, but well then he would by rule he's supposed to be suspended for a little bit.
I don't know.
So.
But yeah, well, worth noting, Dusty Dewar did get disconnected from the server. He's been running into computer issues. Call it mechanical woes with the car, whatever you will. 32 driver will not win this race, and he is now reconnecting, but he'll be a couple laps down.
If you're wanting real life terms, he put a Subaru engine into his car.
Yeah.
It doesn't last very long. So that's the kind of if you were trying to somehow be able to correlate it to a real life situation. Dusty Dewar is running Subarus, and I think next season he's gonna switch it over to something a little bit different.
Yeah, hopefully more reliable. It's not been reliable for old Dusty there.
Well, we're about to get going again. We're only 30 laps into a 200 lap race, still very early on.
Yep.
For the most part, it's been pretty clean by a lot of people. So we'll see here as the 56 is going to be looking in his rear view mirror, wondering where his Pro Edge teammates are at, because now he has 4 Lake Norman cars all stacked up behind him. So right now, Tate Lytle is trying to hold back the dam, and it's not working. He's got a lot of guys right behind him.
He's got his 2 teammates right behind them. Weeks and Tucker 6th and 7th.
Yeah, but they're being blockaded.
Scott Crump into second. Fody and Stanley will be side by side for third. Gable
Hogan
and
made
Meeks
another
for
move.
fourth. They did.
Hogan made another big move. Chad
Hogan
Finkenfield threw it in there again. Oh my God.
Chad's trying to follow Hogan, which it's the right move, but Chad's not been able to hold those three wide
bottom
passes
lane.
right now.
No, it's been a little dangerous.
These three guys right here, Hogan,
With the new
Frankenfield, and
tires.
Farrell, with the new tires, they're the show right now.
Yeah, they're the ones making.
Here comes three wide in front of them. It's Hunter Smith going three wide under Jeff Green and Justin Wadsworth.
That was a little bit of aggressiveness too. Some of these moves are being made very last minute by some of these drivers. Oh, we didn't see that. That was how that didn't cause a caution. How is it not a cause of caution?
Not sure. Jordan Owens, Brent Jones looked like Brent got into Jordan just a little bit there on corner exit. No caution though.
I think Jordan Owens made sure to let Brent know he wasn't happy by pretty much playing blockade. But here comes a battle for the lead. I feel Tate Lytle knows just as much as the rest of us. If he lets that 90 car in front of him, that 90 car is gone. It's going to set sail.
Yeah, that's not a good news for the rest of the field if Scott Crump can get to the lead this early from fifth starting spot.
Yeah, and right now, Scott Crump he's driving in. I mean, and it looks like he could turn at any point. It's turning so well.
He's got a lane up right on corner entry. That's helping him a lot. He's getting a little bit of fresh air on that nose, and here he comes to the bottom of the racetrack on Tate Lytle.
Yeah, I mean this was due. I mean he is so much faster right now.
Oh,
he got loose
corner, though.
That's not going to help his tires.
That was the first time that Scott had to hold it down, though, right? He'd been able to come off the bottom very easily, and now a teammate, but a must-win teammate, and Ethan Stanley's to the outside of that 90 car. Oh, Chad's into Gavin Hibbs in the back.
Oh no, I think he slid up there.
He did, yeah.
He's trying to keep up with Garrison Hogan. Garrison Hogan's been making a lot of three wide action, clean three wide, and doing it with a lot of speed. But the only difference is Garrison Hogan stays right there on the yellow line. And
that's coming off the bottom.
Yeah. It's still battling side by side. You'd almost think that they would want to wait until they dealt with Tate Lytle first. But right now, I think they see Tate Lytle not really being that big of an advantage over them. Man, Garrison Hogan threw it in there. Oh my gosh, he sent someone up the racetrack.
Delicato, who's another must-win driver back there. So two guys must-win, battling it out, and Delicato didn't give Hogan any room there on corner exit, and he's got Hunter Smith to his outside.
Yeah, Garrison Hogan tried making it three wide.
He's going to do it again. Oh, and Delicato!
Loose.
He's around.
Spin it on the front straightaway. That's going to cause a caution.
Yep, there it is. Caution's out for Delicato. Nick got very aggressive there, just trying to hold Hogan back. And, a lot of that pressure from kind of missing out last week, being in that must-win spot, certainly feels like he has to, get off strategy and keep that 36 car behind him. And there it goes.
Now, luckily for him, it's at no point a race ending. But I do feel like before we go to a commercial break, we are going to probably see some green flag pit stops, and that's going to swap this field around. And probably leave us with some drivers that were running in the back, Garrison Hogan, Chad Frankenfield out front. Do we want to just see the exit of pit road, and then we'll do a small
Crump stayed out.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
Yep. Not everyone comes down pit road. Crump stays out. Fody stays out. Gable stays out. Wow.
Thomas, yeah.
Yep. Here comes Ethan, Holmes. All those guys stay out. Hogan, Chad. Pro Edge cars are in. Ethan Stanley is in with them.
Yeah,
all right.
Definitely a split decision, but let's go ahead and do a commercial break, and we'll be right back to go through the field.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway is not just a race, it's a spectacle. Friday, August 16th and Saturday, August 17th. The race everyone talks about. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500. Only at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Go to WWTRaceway.com now because the first deal is the best deal. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Discover Downstate Illinois.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at
I'll let you.
Bring
All
us
right,
back.
we're back.
And we're back. We've got our race control here. I think David Westergreen had a couple questions for our admin for tonight.
Less of a question, more of a clarification, Robert. So
Yeah.
Why did you elect to not provide Chad Frankenfield that first tally? Because that second tally would have ended his night.
So I could have gone either way with that one. Looking back at it, probably should have leaned towards the tally on the 15. But the way I looked at it was there was the initial contact early to mid corner. The 70 had a little bit of time to gather it up. Seemed like he did gather it up and then completed the spin and brought out the caution. So that's kind of why I went racing deal, because he did have a little bit of time to save it there before he went around. But I did warn the 15 that he's on thin ice at this point.
10-4. Perfect.
Well, we appreciate it. As we're about to go back to green, the thin ice is starting in the 5th position. As we're about to get going, now we have Scott Crump at the front of the field, where he probably feels the most thankful to be at after some craziness in the back, as already seeing some three-wide action back there, and people
Ethan Stanley.
just throwing it into turns right now.
Yeah, Ethan Stanley cut 3 wide underneath Revilis and Tate Lytles. Now Stanley's first car on the freshest tires, but that 56, the pole sitter right behind him, and then it's Weeks, Tooker, and Nick Massey. Is Stanley loose?
Oh, round.
It's Seth Rawls wrecks it. Caution's going to be out. Maybe not. Oh, there it is.
Caution is out. I was just about to say before the caution came out that these drivers have put themselves in a very bad position, considering this could have happened.
Yeah, because you end up back in the field and you just never know what
that's-
happens back there.
I feel so bad for Mark there, because he was letting people go by and he still got hit
Nick and Delicato around again. So Scott Crump stayed out. He retained the lead there. I'm curious.
Don't
what
know
you think
why
of that call.
Seth Rawls got. Why
Lose?
did Seth Rawls get the
It's just a
tally?
Did he not there? What do we call him? That a racing deal?
No, they said Seth Rawls was called for the tally.
Yeah, he lost it. He looped it.
Yeah, who would you call it on?
would you give that?
I'm sorry. I was getting it confused with Mark Rebellis. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
There we go.
No, definitely Seth Rawls. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That was on Seth.
No, I'm sorry. I thought they called it on Mark Rebellis, because I was just about to say I was feeling so bad for Mark Rebellis because he was letting everybody go by.
Oh, did you see Racimus?
Yeah, that was close for Racimus.
Because he spun Gerald.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I got names confused.
The good part about the interesting part about this caution, not the good part, is that this group on old tires out front, they need multiple cautions for heat cycles to get into those cars behind them. I'm very intrigued to see when Scott, Gable, Chad will elect to come down pit road in the future. This is a group of guys that is definitely trying to stay off cycle with the main leaders. They're trying to win the race with their own pit strategy, and if the race goes green from here, it's not going to work. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
But if we get a couple of cautions, we get enough heat cycles in those tires where the tires in front are not very fresh, and these guys can come down pit road, get fresh tires, and get a long green flag run, it'll work for them, but it's going to require a certain set of circumstances. I'm not sure this is the right way to go.
Well, what I find interesting so much at Richmond here is because at some point in time in this race, you're not going to be able to avoid it. You're going to have to put yourself in a vulnerable situation. Right now, the drivers back there of Ethan Stanley, Tate Lytle, Weeks, Tooker, they've all just elected to take the plunge now to get into that sticky situation where they can potentially have their night ended here, putting themselves in the middle of trying to get through slower lap traffic. But eventually, it will be on the other foot. And then Scott Crump, who is our leader, and Fody and Hogan will all have to put themselves into similar situation and put themselves behind them. So it's going to be a flip-flop at some point in time in the night. And, I don't think whoever's going to make it into the Final Four is probably going to look back and be thankful that were lucky enough to miss incidents in this race, because I don't think you are necessarily going to easily avoid anything.
Yeah, we've seen guys get really quite lucky. Even think back to that first incident we just talked about with Robert or with Robert rather, about Chad Frankenfield. That occurred right in front of two of our playoff drivers, in Delicato and Garrison Hogan. And now Hogan obviously up here in fifth, and Delicato's been involved in a couple more incidents. He spent multiple pit stops down pit road trying to get that damage fixed, and he's way in the back right now. So it's worked out for one guy, it's not worked out for another guy from starting in the back. And every time you put yourself back where Matthew Weeks is right now, David Tooker is right now, those guys are now in a kind of a danger zone spot. We anticipate they'll cycle back to the front, but that's not a guarantee at this point.
I would also like to say keep an eye on Chad Frankenfield. He has about 20-something lap newer tires than the three Lake Norman drivers in front of him. So do see Chad Frankenfield try to play a little bit, if you can believe it, aggression here to try to get around them. But we're about to go back green here. Scott Crump leading the bottom lane, gets a wonderful restart there. Wow, really good restart. That's going to allow his teammate of Tyler Fody to be able to now battle with the 0-1 for that second position. Everyone seems to be getting turns 1 and 2 cleanly here. Oh, I say that. Oh, boy. Oh, they're almost wrecking back there. Oh, that's crazy.
Ethan Stanley sent it in 3 wide on Hosak and another driver, and Stanley's the one who makes out like a bandit. He's up to 9th. Hosak's now 3 wide. Josh Clark's around in the front straightaway. Caution's out again. That all started with Ethan Stanley going 3 wide on the restart there. It put Hosak in a bind, and it stacked everything up, and Stanley's aggression continued. I don't think he got into Clark. I think it was Clark getting loose off a corner exit. Oh, actually,
well, that looks like a tap.
It would appear that it was Mr. Justin Vandermeer got into it.
That was so close for Ethan Stanley.
Yep.
That was so close. That would have been night done. That would have turned him in front of the whole pack.
As it is, Clark spins harmlessly, another caution, but that is another cycle of heat into those tires for those fresh, that fresh compound. Those guys in the mid pack, Scott Crump, Ryan Gable, Tyler Fody have gotten their, multiple cautions here. I don't think they're going to come in now.
No, they're
waiting.
Have to hold out. I mean, they're going to have to hold up for a little bit. I mean, luckily it is a short track. They can go probably a little over 100 laps, probably 120 something laps on fuel, and then with all these cautions, it's extending it further. But I do think that this is not hurting them, because essentially Lake Norman's still 1, 2, 3, and those drivers are probably putting some, like you said, heat cycles and definitely not getting the most out of their tires with the cautions coming out essentially the same lap. So it definitely changes some things. I do want to just pull up the point standings one more time, just to reiterate to people exactly the drama that you have to keep an eye on. The main drama, I would have to say right now, is going to be between Matthew Weeks and Tyler Fody. Those two blue cars, they're tied in points coming into tonight. They are both not locked in, but high enough in points that essentially it's a race between the two of them. Not entirely, but for the most part, between the two of them. If, say, like a driver like Scott Crump, or maybe a Nick Indelicato comes into tonight and takes a victory and takes one of those green spots, one of those locked-in positions, then it becomes a battle between regular season champion Matthew Weeks and last year's champion Tyler Fody to battle it out based off their points. So there's multiple things to have to keep an eye on tonight. That is one of them, the battle of Tyler Fody and Matthew Weeks in case of a Scott Crump dominance tonight.
Yeah, that's the big story, I think, for sure, is those two there that are, potentially battling it out for that final spot, but maybe they're both in, right? They've got a huge lead on Garrison Hogan. I doubt that's a lead Hogan can break unless he wins the race. He would need something tragic to befall one of those two drivers in blue. So for the most part, it's everybody in orange needs to win the race. I think mathematically Hogan and Tooker can point their way in, but we need to see some significant changes to the running order. I think Matthew Weeks and Tyler Fody both inside the top 15 right now. That seems to be mathematically all they need to do to clinch, barring a win from someone like Scott Crump.
Well, what I find it so funny, not funny, but entertaining, was who is Tyler Fody, you would say, be the most aggressive with blocking and keeping from passing him the last two races and essentially cause Matthew Weeks plenty of grief. Well, I said his name, so I kind of ruined my point there. But Matthew Weeks is the driver that Tyler Fody has been so adamant on trying to race very, very, very aggressive against and to keep the 11 behind him. Right now, Matthew Weeks is a little further back with his tire strategy. We got a little situation under caution.
Josh Personette has disconnected from the server. I'm not entirely sure why. Looks like he just pulled off and parked it and called it an evening. So tough break. Josh Personette's had a couple of good runs this season, but one was not going his way so far tonight. He was back in the field.
Yeah, unfortunate for Personette there. Hopefully everything is well with him as these drivers are getting ready to go back green. 3 Lake Norman cars starting it off. This time Scott Crump went up the racetrack just a little bit, almost got into his teammate there, but able to clear himself. There goes the 0-1.
Cabled too high, much too high.
Yeah, that's going to allow Chad Frankenfield to get into that spot. Try to make it 3 wide. Is going to have that room to look below. Garrison Hogan trying to still fit it in there.
Oh, Chad loses it there in the center of turn 3. He's up the track. Hogan now to 4th spot.
3 wide, a little bit farther back. Tate Lytle, Ethan Stanley, and the 91 there of Thomas. All 3 of them going into their new tires on the bottom lane there. Both of those drivers trying to make a charge up to the front. They are leading the pack.
Oh, right behind. It's Christopher.
No caution yet. And the caution is a
no!
No, you gotta wait. Oh no.
Ouchie.
Another cycle on the tires, and the Lake Norman cars remain 1, 2, 3. Looks like Stouffer got loose there on corner entry into turn 1.
Did he get loose? Yeah, he did get loose, yeah.
Yeah, looks like he overdrove it, trying to keep it pinned to the outside of the potential rookie of the year, Justin Wadsworth. 13 car loops. Hostat gives him some space. He overcorrects into the outside wall. And then, as you said, he fired it up a little too early there.
He sees him coming.
Well, let's see what our guy Robert Hill has to say about that one.
Well, I mean,
the initial wreck's definitely Christopher.
Yeah.
But
You might get a second tally for
I don't think it
contact under
matters,
caution.
really, because the 13's tires smoked. You want to know what's going to take out one of these next-gen cars that are as near bulletproof? That's about what you do to take them out. That's...
Yep. That might be a second one on the 13. Just kind of blocked the track up. I wish Hanshaw had slowed down a little more. It kind of looked like he was just flooring it through there.
He was going pretty fast, but
13 car drove down the track on him. I don't know that there's much he could have done regardless.
It would have been a situation I could, somewhat understand if you weren't actually like facing head on with the guy and then decided to come down. Yeah.
I want to get a quick note on this pit strategy by these front 3, right? It's because it's working out. It's working into their favor. Perfectly.
Oh, it's working great. Yeah.
They need to pit what, like you said, roughly around lap 80 to make it the rest of the way on fuel. Nobody else can make it the rest of the way on fuel from this point in the race. So these guys have elected to try and one-stop this race. Everybody else is also going to have to make another pit stop. The hope for Scott Crump, Tyler Fode, Ryan Gable is that this race continues to throw a few cautions. They don't lose too much track position in the meantime, and they're able to pit at or around lap 80 and go the rest of the way without coming back down pit road. That's their hope. Will that strategy work? Remains to be seen, as we've been talking about, but for now, it is working magnificent.
Yeah, I would say definitely Lake Norman drivers have definitely picked the right strategy as of right now.
Yeah,
I
right now.
do feel like they also have a sinking feeling when they do decide to go down pit road because it's been, for the better word, crazy.
Yeah.
There. I almost want to do a wide shot if we can into turn one because the amount of drivers that just decide that they have to make the position up now and drive it into 3 wide going into turn one. I don't think I have seen this season more drivers decide to take it 3 wide into turn one after a restart than I have in this race so far.
Yeah, that's
He is parked for the day for Stouffer there.
Yeah, so Stouffer gets both tallies right back to back, and that's kind of what I was wondering, because the wreck's over, and then he drove down into the path of another car. That's what race control called. That's what happened, and evening for Chris Stouffer, frustrating one for sure.
Well, we are going to be going back green here, as once again. These drivers just trying to look to see and what the second lap looks like on a restart. It's been a minute. As these drivers are going to be coming back to the restart zone. This time around, though, Tyler Fode is going to be starting to the outside. See how well he's able to do on the restarts.
Ryan Gable missed a shift or something.
Yeah, Chad Frankenfield jumped to the middle lane. Is that allowed?
Well, I don't know. It's Chad, so probably. Oh, Gable
got loose. Oh, Chad getting into him a little bit. Backs off.
This is music to Ethan Stanley's ears. Here comes that 92, 3 wide after Ethan Burrell and Gable.
Oh boy, Ethan, 4 wide.
4 wide
into it. Oh man.
Chad into Gable and Neil Happ.
Oh no.
4 wide. They're still fighting it out, beating and banging here in turn 2. Down the back straightaway, 3 wide.
No brakes.
I'm at a loss of words right
now.
now.
Tyler Fode just took the lead from Scott Crump.
I think that's mainly to let him lead a lap. I think Scott Crump will eventually get back onto Tyler Fode, but
I don't think so. I think Crump got loose off turn 4. We've been watching this battle so intently. Oh, they're wrecking now. Ty McIntosh, Kevin Hibbs.
Multiple cars around. Oh boy. Still around. Another car up into there. There's a blue one. I can't see who it was.
It's Ty McIntosh. Ty McIntosh is the one. He got body slammed and sent to the inside wall. Couldn't tell who hit him.
It's a 6-car wreck right now.
Oh, it's Nick and Delicato who's around. That's the other one. I think this one might come from the 74 car up here. Yep, there it is. Richie gets into Gavin.
Now that I can see it being a racing situation.
I could see it, but Richie did change lanes there, and it looks like Delicato's getting more damage.
Hit pretty hard by the 84 there. Oh, great move by the 16, being able to miss that out on that one. That was a good job by Jordan Owens, just barely able to get by. Would like to do an onboard of the 16 after this.
So Hearn gets into Gavin.
It's inside hard.
Yeah, it's a tough break for Ty. Oh, Jordan Owens just misses cleaning out Nick and Delicato. And Delicato
I don't think Nick and Delicato got too bad of a hit there, I'll be honest with you.
That's his 3rd incident involved, I think, technically, and
he's on board with the 16 Jordan Owens.
No damage.
This will be a good shot of just craziness in front of him.
Worth noting, Ryan Gable lost that track position. He has, I believe, come down pit road. Yeah.
Bumper just sitting there on the track. That's Jeff Green's bumper.
It is indeed. think you're by it, and then
Oh, he can barely see it. They're starting to come up, and I'm thinking he's probably
oh,
he's probably thinking about what he's going to do after this because he thought he was about done right there. That's unbelievable. That was I mean, if he was just a little bit slower, he would have been done.
Yep. Sally does go on to Richie Hearn. So my initial thought that you can change that lane, but not when you're 3 wide. And Richie kind of changed it when he was 3 wide top, and it resulted in the incident. Yeah, that's what does net you the tally there. Or Gavin ends up bouncing off his teammate, getting a little bit more damage, and we've seen him into the outside wall a lot this season. But
I'm hearing race control telling drivers to control their anger. I'm hearing that there's some.
I believe Mr. Crump and somebody else were hitting each other.
Mr. Crump. All right, well, let's talk to Ty McIntosh. See if we can find Crump hitting somebody under caution. We'll figure that one out after this. Oh, I put him in the field care center. Hi, it's David in the booth. You got me, buddy.
I got you, buddy.
Well, we saw you get kind of shuffled to the inside wall there. Can you tell us what happened?
Oh, I don't really know. I just heard screaming from my teammate, and oh no, and I saw the wall. That was about it.
Oh, yep. Sent to the inside wall at Mach 2. Looked like so. Tough night. Is your race done here? Is that it, or are you coming back out for a little more carnage?
We got 7 minutes to 40 seconds optional, and if I know how this race is going, I'm getting about 0% of that fixed. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and park it and just enjoy it from the stands. What racing there is of it, anyways.
Well, ever since you put this, I would say Jeff Gordon paint scheme. It's not been very lucky for you. It's been some hard hits. Are you planning on maybe next season doing a different paint scheme? I think the racing gods are just not happy that there's a Jeff Gordon paint scheme on a Ford.
It really worked at Vegas. Other than that, that's been about it. So yeah, I think there's definitely we got to change something up here. I think honestly, it was fine when it had the Hendrick font. Seth switches to ours, and now it's not going good. So maybe we put it back to the Jeff Gordon font. Maybe we see how that goes. I don't know.
Maybe a Chevy or pick something.
Yeah, I know it doesn't. It feels weird to me too, and I'm the one driving it. So,
so all right. Well, we appreciate you joining us here tonight. Hopefully, you have some better luck in the rest of the season.
Hope so.
Back out front. This time around, Tyler Fody decides to pick the outside lane, letting his teammate be able to start on the inside. But I think we're going to see a 3 wide. Garrison Hogan throws it in there. Oh, pushes him up just a little bit. Garrison Hogan on much newer tires than Scott Crump is going to be able to probably make quick work of Scott Crump here. I think it's about time for those drivers up front to come down pit road at this point. Caution out. Oh, boy.
Again, man.
I didn't think it was going to be this bad tonight.
We discussed it before the race, and I told you I am buckled in for 20 cautions. It is just one of the. It's in the water. Oh, Ryan Gable put back into the field, and Rucker gets into Richie Hearn and takes Gable with him.
Well, Gable's not a playoff driver.
He's not, but he was a front runner, and he was working the strategy and. Just as
that
teammates,
is why Scott Crump and Tyler Fody are probably very afraid to go back there right now.
Exactly. That is exactly why. That and they can't make it on one more stop yet.
I think they could with how the cautions are going.
Eventually, we'll run out of cars, right? We always say that. It never works that way.
If this wasn't the Cup car, maybe. But with this being the Cup car...
Hey, how about if I read some stuff?
Yeah,
let's go ahead and read some stuff.
It's time to read some stuff.
All right, we are the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. Belly Up Sports, the internet sports bar. Sports commentary via podcasts, forums, and articles on topics ranging to nearly every sport. Not your usual sports site? Check them out on X or at bellyupsports.com. Premier partners are Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pick crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. Worldwide Technology Raceway, you saw the cool new Worldwide Technology Raceway ad they sent over for the IndyCar race. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, near the Gateway Arch. Features a 1.25 mile oval that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, which was just this last weekend was the Cup Series, NTT IndyCar Series. They have a 2-mile infield road course used by Speed Tour, Trans Am, SCCA, and Porsche Club of America. A quarter-mile NHRA sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series Midwest Nationals, and the Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility. Our race sponsor tonight is Kickin the Tires, which I believe is on Chad Frankenfield's car and Garrison Hogan's. Follow Kickin the Tires on X or at kickinthetires.net for all the news, stories, and updates from the track. That's it, guys.
Tell you what, Gateway, what a great race they had. I mean, probably one of the best flat tracks that we've seen in a while with these next-gen cars, and it put on a good show there last week.
It did. And hey, I always follow Seth Eggert for Kicking the Tires on Twitter, and he's very useful at, you know, lining up what exactly is happening in a race. If you need something like chronologically what happened from lap to lap, he's usually very solid at providing that info. So Kicking the Tires does a great job. We got some good sponsors over here.
Absolutely. I like how they put it onto Chad's car, because you don't know whose tires he's kicking. He's just kind of show up and see, right? But yeah, somehow Scott Crump, I don't know how he did it. He stayed in front of Garrison Hogan. I did not see that happening, to be honest. So that will put back in the top 4 3 Lake Norman drivers again.
Yep.
Ethan Stanley now working his way up there in a must-win situation. Now finds himself in a really good spot because I think he's leading the charge with one of the newer tires, I believe.
Yeah, Ethan's got the freshest tires of anybody right now. Crump and Fody have the oldest tires of anybody right now. And those guys have been hanging on for dear life a little bit up at the front of the field here. And we just saw what happened when you go back in the field is you get, you know, run into Ryan Gable's now a lap down.
Well, we're going back green. It's going to be Tyler Fody leading off the charge on the high side there. Gets a good start. Scott Crump trying to put the early block down below to make sure the 36 can't get underneath him. He has seen how the 36 has made that move in the past. Made it on him the last time. This time able to keep it down. Oh, Garrison Hogan getting loose on that bottom end there. But that's going to allow all 3 Lake Norman drivers to be able to get clear out front.
Yeah, it is. And that was a very cerebral move by Scott Crump to go ahead and put that block on Garrison Hogan. He is not the only one who's noticed that 36 car going for a dive bomb on that restart. Hogan's been doing it all race long, and there's
Jeff Green, hard hit. I think Jeff Green got climbed over by his teammate there, Michael Goodman, climbed over his car.
No, not Goody. Let's take a look and see what happened there.
The floor got him.
Man, good luck. Hey, we appreciate everything Robert Hill does. Oh my God.
Goody just climbed him.
But good luck determining the outcome of a few of these, man. This is not an easy wreck to decide the cause of. 4-car came down a little bit. Jeff came up a little bit. I might call this one a racing deal if I was controlling this one, but you could also see me giving it to either of those guys. I'm not giving it to Michael Goodman, though. He had absolutely nowhere to go.
Oddly enough, it didn't trigger the yellow until Goody hit him.
Yep. He wasn't really sideways or anything. It just.
Well, we got a lot of cars coming down pit road. Garrison Hogan down pit road. A few other ones coming down pit road.
And that's curious because you know who didn't come down pit road? Tyler Fody and Scott Crump.
Scott Crump. I don't think they want to. I think they're good.
I think they're good. They are just their bed is made.
Yeah, half the field
front,
actually.
So we're not.
Some of those were surprising that they came down pit road. Tate Lytle, Ethan Burrell.
Those guys are not going to pit again. Hogan, Lytle, Burrell. We're at lap 80, right? You can make it from here. So those guys have pitted for the last time. We do have Gavin Hibbs in the infield care center. We can bring him up now. We've got plenty of time, I think.
Yeah, Gavin Hibbs, you got us. You're in the booth with us now. Oh, and then he's gone.
I was clicking him into the booth, and we clicked him in and clicked him out.
We're back with Gavin Hibbs.
My bad.
Stay with us here. Not exactly how this race was intended to show up to being as, but It's just been a little hectic out there. This time around, though, you got hit pretty hard. A lot of front end damage. Exactly what's going on out there that's causing all the situations that we've seen on track?
I think it's just a little bit of impatience from a lot of guys. You know, just with so many laps left to go, guys are just trying to make moves right now. Like, I mean, yeah, I get it. It's hard to pass here, especially with these cars. But we still got over 120 laps to go, I think. So I
Well,
don't know.
we've gotten a new iRacing update, and from what we heard, shifting is a big thing in this car. Is that kind of just all contributing to it? It's a new patch, and now new, with shifting being such a big thing, with different shifting patterns from drivers. That going into the turn seems to be where a lot of issues are coming from.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you got some guys who would run in front of you, and they make a mistake, and you try to pounce on it. But with the shifting, they can just easily shift down and be able to hold their spot. It's been really frustrating nights, to say the least, for a lot of guys, and it's yeah.
We hope to see you back next week and back to your high running ways and bouncing off the wall ways to getting up to the front. Had a way better regular season than as of late, but hopefully we'll be able to see you get back to running up front here before too long.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's close out this Cup Series season strong.
There you go. That's Gavin Hibbs, one of our rookie drivers and winner of this season earlier on. So really good for a rookie driver to get his win in the series here, especially as strong as these Cup Series drivers are. And hopefully we'll see him back next year having more success go his way. But back up front here, it is going to be Tyler Fode leading the outside lane once again. Still been Tyler Fode, Scott Crump at the front of the field with their dry rotted tires at this point. Just trying to stay out front, and it's working still in some shape or form as they get through 1 and 2. Let's see if the rest of the field's able to do so.
Yeah, that's been the kicker. Garrison Hogan took it 3 wide back there again. Somebody's going to get tired of that, and that might end Garrison Hogan's night if anybody decides that they don't want him to do that.
Garrison Hogan got hit. Josh Clark hard into the wall.
They just wrecked huge. This is why Scott Crump and Tyler Fode have not pitted yet. This is exactly why. They do not want to be involved in any of these incidents.
Yeah, I mean, just look at their teammate there, the O1. He's been involved in multiple incidents, can't get back up to the front. This was just a situation of a driver getting on the gas a little bit too hard, getting it loose into 36. Man, our second place qualifier just got destroyed.
Is that the second one for Josh Clark? It might be. Racimus into it as well. I think that's going to be the second one on Clark. I think he spun earlier.
No, that's his first of the night. That's his first.
All right.
First tally of the night. I know you want to start getting rid of some drivers.
Maybe I am mistaken.
So why this is important to me, maybe not to everybody else, as far as what's going on with Clark there. We in the podcast have picked drivers to have the most incident points at the end of the regular season, and it's come down to a 2-horse race of Joshua Clark and Michael Goodman.
That's what it was. Yep. Clark did get spun, but it was Vandermarl that spun him.
I picked Goodman to get it, and last week and now this week so far, Clark has been pounding those points in and kind of putting Goody in the dust with incident points, and I'm not happy about that because I was picking Goody to get the most incident points, and Clark has started to take that away from me.
Yep, and worth noting, that's exactly right. He was off of Vandermarl the first time, but that is the second time Josh Clark has spun. I did know that much.
And Robert Hill's really going after us Booth guys.
That's fair. I mean, we went after him on the first caution of the night, so it's all fun and games.
I don't know if these guys would agree with that out there right now.
yeah. The drivers maybe not so much having the fun, but we're having fun.
They don't sound like they're having that much fun out there. It sounds like they're They're all getting very amped up and angry right now at each other.
We're having a great time. Drivers, if you
I'm
got the
fine.
broadcast on, if you got the broadcast on, hit the waiting room. Come talk to us. This is 10 cautions. We're not halfway yet. I'm anticipating at least 10 more. So more than welcome. Come talk to us. Jump in the waiting room. We'll bring you up. Happy to do so.
My question is I think Scott Crump, and as well as this has worked out for them right now,
Yeah.
I really think they probably wish that they had come down earlier. I'll be honest. Maybe I think honestly, some of those drivers like Chad Frankenfield that pitted way earlier, at this point might be good on fuel.
Yes, but then those guys will be holding off the guys on fresh tires late in the race, and
Hasn't been a
Garrison
problem.
Hogan will send it to the
Yeah,
inside.
well.
I mean, you never know.
Garrison Hogan, the Yu-Gi-Oh champion, will send you to the shadow realm before too long.
Yeah.
His move going into turn number 1 has been trademarked by him at this point.
Yeah.
It is very well known. He's got a lot lower line than anybody going into turn number 1, and it's working for better or worse. It's not working for the person that he makes the move on. But for him, it seems to be working for him because he has made his way up to the front multiple times. But again, he still puts himself in a position just like the last time around we just saw where he got hit. It could have been a lot worse of a hit, but he's still not in a safe spot right now.
No.
Of course, now he's got Nick Indelicato, who's been in 10 wrecks right in front of him. So we'll see how that works out going into turn number 1.
And Delicato's been aggressive blocking Hogan already in this race, and it led to him making that mistake. So I would not be shocked if that was maybe the fireworks on this restart.
I can see that playing out. Driving line enabled? Yeah. Well, I don't think they would use it.
No, that was for me. The previous message said the broadcast crew was going to swap in at the halfway point.
Yes.
And
yes.
I would need the driving line.
Well, just watch Garrison Hogan and then don't do that.
Don't do that.
That was gets the big Chad
follow
gets
Chad.
the big jump. Chad's going for it.
Chad threw it in there, almost got into Scott Crump. Man, that was close. That was by inches. Scott Crump put the block late there. Still able to stay in front of him.
Scott has been willing to drop that rear bumper in front of cars trying to take it to that bottom lane. He did it earlier against Hogan. He did it there against Chad. And these two Lake Norman Chevys have been able to hold the lead out front. And every single time we wind up these tires, heat them up, and then cool them down again, everyone else's tires are balancing in
24 in the wall hard.
Yep, Hosak back there. Every time we reheat and cool these tires, they continue to equal out with the rest of the field.
Boy, they haven't slowed down. Drivers are still very much throwing it into turns right now. Chad Frankenfield looking very good. If he's able to get somehow around Scott Crump, he might have a shot here.
Oh,
no!
Oh, Rucker into Tucker! No, Tucker!
Tucker hard impact there.
That might be it for the Tucker championship hopes.
It's not gonna help.
Oh no. He needed to outfinish Fody and Weeks by at least 20 if he didn't win the race.
Yeah,
big damage is not going to help that. And let's see, Delicato sideways and Cabri into the 64, who corrects back into the 19.
That's gonna be day over for Rucker.
Yeah, it is, and I think that might be it.
Trying to say it's a racing deal. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I
don't know. I'd put it. Yeah,
that might
put
be
it on
a racing
Rucker.
deal. I don't know that I'm putting that on Rucker. 39 car hit him before he was ever wrecking into David Tucker.
I think Chase is claiming fault.
I might give this one a Chase. It's close. You could definitely sway me away from blaming the 39, but I'm not putting that on Rucker.
Loose. I don't know. Just because the 39 got loose, he doesn't go. He goes up, but he doesn't go up past where he would normally go.
Yeah. Andrew Rucker's been involved in a number of incidents tonight, and that one may be the one that signals the end of the Sunny D machine.
So, yeah, I don't see. It's not outrageous. If you say so, I'll go with racing situation on there. It's close.
To me, it's either racing or it's on the 39. I don't think
putting
that on Ruck.
I don't see how that's a 39. I don't see how that's a 39. He wasn't going up anymore.
Well, if you can't decide after like 3 views, then you call it a racing deal and you move on. But
Yeah.
man, for David Tooker, this is just a disaster.
I think he's going to be okay. I mean,
I
not
think
what
if
he
you're-
wanted, but he's going to have. I mean, he didn't come down. Did he come down pit road?
He did, yeah. He had to come fix that damage. There's heavy damage on that left front. That car's not going to drive the same as it did. Not that there's been a whole lot of driving at more than 40 miles an hour. I mean,
There's not been
Most
much
of the time.
handling. It's been mainly just throw it into the turns. So, I don't know how
Exactly.
much more you need it to do than just throw it into the turn. But yeah, somehow still Scott Crump, Tyler Fode out front. This is definitely helping Tyler Fode because he's still trying to go up against Matthew Weeks. He's got a point now for leading a lap, but with him being out front, it's starting to go towards him possibly leading the most laps too, which would be another point. So these are all points in the final goal of being able to find his way into the championship four.
I got a question on this appeal, guys.
Rucker,
So
there you
if Rucker is appealing it, so he stays on the track and doesn't get his second, but if the appeal would then put the tally on Chase, that's not going to happen until after the race.
I don't think they would switch
So all the appeal can be is whether or not it's on Rucker, right?
Right.
They can't give it to someone else.
I agree with Robert this time.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, as far as my opinion is that if they didn't give the penalty over to the other driver, then they're not going to.
I think that what was confusing the issue was that Chase was saying adamantly that it was his fault and saying the tally needs to go on me.
And he's a nice guy.
And race control disagreed.
That's why they're in charge.
I do a little bit on that, I'll be honest. Again, these drivers are making calls without being able to get out of the car and rewatch the video. So, again, their statements are hearsay.
Well, back to the green once again.
Back to the
That's how long we
grind.
can do it.
Yeah, back to the grind here. Tyler Fode able to get, once again, really good restart. Scott Crump actually got a really good restart this time. Not going to be able to hold him off, but is going to get enough gap between him and Chad Frankenfield where he doesn't have to worry about it for a little bit. And,
At least one corner.
One corner.
Ethan Stanley, Chad Frankenfield side by side for third. Johnny Thomas and Hunter Smith side by side there for fifth.
Oh,
Hunter
contact.
Smith into Johnny. No,
Oh,
I won't say anything
no.
else, Johnny. That's it. I'm done. Matthew Weeks and Justin Wadsworth right behind.
Chad Frankenfield really trying to push the 92 up the racetrack, having a hard time trying to get that bottom lane going.
We got another.
Oh,
Yep.
oh, wreck another.
I thought we did.
Oh,
99 car flicked off my screen like he blinked out,
Racimus involved again.
and I'm wondering if that
Oh,
was the cause of
Goody's
that one.
hit pretty hard too.
That's good for his incident points, right?
No, he needs to stay out there though. That's a hard hit.
No.
I need
happened, dude?
I need the contacts. As
Oh,
much as
99. 99 sideways,
that's gonna be his
Sideways.
final, I think maybe.
sideways, back down into Goody. Oh no.
Oh, that's a hard hit by Goody too. That might
Yeah.
be race over.
Yeah, 4 more incident points for you. Tell Goody to go do some donuts.
I'll tell him he needs to get back out there and get a couple more. They were tied going into last week, and then the 28 got like 15 points
Yeah.
of tallies. And right now, as it stands,
Goody's
oh
got
my
8, but
gosh.
Josh might have 8 too. He's spun out a couple of times.
He's got 10.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
If you can guess who has the highest, I'll give you a bonus on that.
Rucker.
No, Jesse Racimus right now.
Oh, Jesse's been involved in a lot of stuff tonight.
Yeah, surprisingly. We do, if you can believe it, we do have quite a few drivers still with 0 X's on the racetrack.
2 of those, I believe, are running first and second, and they have gone out of their way to maintain that. And it's continuing to work, but at this point, I'm wondering how late is too late. They are going to have to make a pit stop.
It was
I'm
too
certain
late
they're
a
saving
while
fuel.
ago. It was
I'm
too late
certain
a
they're
while
saving
ago.
fuel. Can they make it 200 laps if we have 20 cautions?
Well, as soon as we get another caution, I'll go down and I'll ask them.
We
So
can
probably in
certainly
5
figure it out.
minutes. Yeah. I
They
want to
might not.
also take
They might
note
not
here,
tell you
and
though.
another driver with 0 incidents that we do need to give a lot of credit to for his rookie season is Justin Wadsworth. What an incredible rookie season he's had. With tonight's race, it should lock him in as the rookie champion. Won the ARCA championship earlier this season, not too long ago, and now comes into tonight. It's going to lock down that rookie championship. Had a hard battle with some really good drivers, and having a good night tonight, having a 0x with how crazy this race has been, it's just a testament of how he was able to accomplish that rookie championship with just having really consistent runs. Nothing over the top, but having a lot of runs inside the top 10 as he's doing tonight.
He is. He's having a great run. And he's had a number of those, right? I think we covered him pretty extensively at Daytona. Had some issues, a little bit of unfamiliarity with the drivers, and you know, over the course of the season, I think he's gotten a lot more comfortable, and he's put in some really good performances. You got to cover him now before he gets wrecked out, huh?
Yeah, well, I said it now.
Yep. And Gerald jinxed you, Justin. If you're watching it back, Gerald's the one who jinxed you. I didn't say anything until he said something.
That's a team effort. I mean, Dave's doing the camera view, so it's on him as well. Yeah, I think it might be night over for Goody. He's still on pit road. I think
He does have a meatball flag.
Yeah, I think he might be calling it done, which is not good for my pick, but
not good for the incidents.
No.
Good, you got to get back out there and wad some more people up.
Still 25 cars on the lead lap. We do have quite a few cars that are out of the race. I mean, Jesse Racimus is now out. Trey Holmes, Seth Rawls, Gavin Hibbs, Richie Hearn, Ty McIntosh, Christopher, Kyle Hanshaw, Joshua Personette, and Dustin Dewar are the drivers that are out. I don't think that list is going to stay that size. I think it's going to grow maybe a little bit before it gets too far.
I agree.
Race. Once again,
flags back out. Fody went very early in the restart zone, and it gave his teammates a good jump.
Yeah, but now it's going to allow Chad Frankenfield to have that outside lane over the 92. This is going to help him with trying to make that pass on the 92 there. Chad's been bounced.
He's loose.
Oh, my goodness. That was bad.
Hunter Smith up into fourth. Matthew Weeks on the bottom. Johnny Thomas is the loser in this situation. He's all the way up on the outside. Delicato in the wall. Matthew Weeks and Tate Lytle working their way back up towards the front, finally.
Oh boy, this is getting a little hairy because this is a big pack of a lot of drivers with some playoff potentials here. Right behind him. I think he's going to hit the inside wall.
Canadal smacked the inside wall, but he did not spin. Caution is not out.
That's very, very lucky for the rest of the field. He didn't come back up. Back up to that battle there. It is not done. Ronnie Thomas probably not too happy with Chad Frankenfield because he is now stuck on the outside lane, getting eaten up by some drivers on that bottom lane. Looks like the 56 now. 37 is going to try to get around him underneath there. So Johnny Thomas starting to fall back a little bit here.
Yeah, Johnny's, he's getting penalized for giving some space there on that outside lane. That is what it is. That's kind of how you drive this next-gen car. Got to be hyper-aggressive or you're going backwards. And
Delicato. Oh, my God.
Delicato got loose again. We have seen that all night long from the 10 car.
Some of these guys are driving a jet ski. They do not want to turn as fast as they're turning, and it gets out from under them pretty quickly.
Tate Lytle blew around Matthew Weeks. He is now hunting Chad Frankenfield for that 5th spot. And give it to Tate Lytle, the pole sitter, on the inside here. Chad's going to fight back on the outside lane, but Tate's got the fresher tires, and he's not going to pit again. So Tate Lytle's working his way back up towards this Lake Norman duo of Tyler Fody and Scott Crump. No, Ethan sideways. Ethan Reynolds going down.
No, he's going to come down in front of the field. Up in the field. Oh, Wadsworth.
There's the Wadsworth jinx.
Wadsworth tires pointing the wrong direction.
Whose fault is that, Gerald? Whose fault is that?
I don't know. Well, it's obviously
it's
Ethan
Burrell's
Burrell's fault.
It is Ethan Burrell's fault.
It's obviously Ethan Burrell's fault.
How close?
I was keying up to go, man, we've had a pretty good long green flag run so far. And then
You dual jinxed it.
Yeah, I didn't say it though.
You thought it. That's all it takes. Oh man,
boy.
Ethan Burrell counting his lucky starts. He has already locked into the championship race next week at Kansas, and he barely avoids Matthew Weeks and Garrison Hogan right here. Two guys who absolutely cannot afford to be sucked up into a wreck at this point in the race. Oh, right in front of
Hard
Justin
hit
Wadsworth.
for Wadsworth. Nick Massey was having a good night too. Both of those guys, all three of those guys had a 0x. That is no more.
Just like that, it's all over.
Yeah, so that was that ruined three guys' chances of having a clean run.
Yep, Ethan was looking forward to getting involved right there. Yeah, just overdrove turn one just a little bit, and we heard from that 48 car that we're watching get plowing into the 37 car. Heard from him earlier tonight that you can do that. The rear can really unload on that quarter entry. You have to be really stable. The car feels like it's going to spin out. And for one of our championship contenders, one of the best guys of car control in this entire league, he lost.
One good thing is that we can say, without a doubt, is we're just thankful that this isn't actually the championship round. Because I don't know how that would turn out, to be honest with you. It's crazy enough as it is, but we will eventually, at the end of this race, know what four drivers will be going on to the next round. As far as the podcast goes, Johnny Thomas is going to be doing the podcast tomorrow, and he's going to be having all four of our championship contenders going on and he's got questionnaires where he's going to ask them certain questions, and he's going to have them on there talking about their hopes of going into next week is trying to get a championship. Obviously, we know two drivers, Tate Lytle, who is the most winning champion in the Elite Series, and the other one is Ethan Burrell trying to go for his first Cup Elite Series championship. So maybe we might be getting a few of these, like Tyler Fody, who defending champion. So a lot of different varying drivers with different aspects of how they look to the championship round and how they have to approach it.
Well, if we were to start it right now, Tyler Fody and Matthew Weeks would join Tate Lytle and Ethan Burrell. Scott Crump would miss out by that one spot because he needs to win the race. So, given that, there's a long way to go. And a guy like Scott Crump, who has the speed to get to the race lead, a guy like Garrison Hogan, who's been aggressive all day and absolutely has the speed to win this race.
Garrison Hogan, is going to be the one that determines who wins this. He's in a good spot.
The two of them are not done with this race. We've 13 cautions. We have really struggled to run green flag laps tonight. If we get any semblance of green flag laps, it will be the two guys who kind of know that they're locked in based on where they're running right now in Tyler Fody and Tate Lytle versus Scott Crump and Garrison Hogan, who absolutely must win the race.
I really like where Garrison Hogan's at with how fresh his tires are, which is way fresher than a lot of these guys in front of him, and how he's been able to get up to the front. I think Garrison Hogan has something to say before the end of this. But then again, I mean, these drivers need to find a way to somehow get around these Lake Norman drivers with old tires. If they can make it on fuel, it's every lap that they go under caution is more of a chance. This time around, though, Tyler Fody is going to take that bottom lane, just trying to make sure that Tate Lytle does not have an advantage, it looks like, as he's going to be able to rocket on that bottom lane. Tate Lytle's still going to have that preferred outside lane, but now here comes Hunter Smith underneath Scott Crump. Really good run here for the 54.
And Tate Lytle's going to get in behind Hunter Smith as well. They've got Scott Crump locked up on the outside lane. Can they take advantage of those older tires? Smith through the middle of the corner well, but Crump still able to hold strong on the outside.
Again, I think these drivers know they have to make a move quick. Oh, Hunter Smith is loose. Sends Scott Crump off the wall. He's still loose. He's going to make contact with a few
Garrison.
of them. Oh, man, they are lucky to be able to get by that. That could have ended up very badly, but Scott Crump still able to hold on for that second spot and still trying to hold off the 56 as contact under the wall is still happening behind them. I think they understand. Oh, car around. The force still getting sideways back there. Oh, boy.
Ryan
He's
Schultz,
all but had a wreck.
the teammate of Hunter Smith, both of those cars just not able to handle right now. The battle is still for second between Crump and Lytle, and Crump's just been able to hold Tate Lytle off, even with those old tires.
We do have a wreck
Caution.
and a caution. I'm
I
starting
wanna-
to question if maybe... Oh, they're 28's gaining more incident points. I'm starting to wonder if maybe iRacing updated the patch, and it's actually raining out there, and we don't see it at this point.
Might be. Let's see what
I
happens.
think
to
this
Josh
might be
Clark
race
here.
over for Clark, though. I think...
Oh,
yeah.
yep. Yep, that'll do it. I think that's going to go on the 28, and that will be his second tally of the night.
Don't assume.
Yeah, Robert surprised us before, but that one seems pretty clear cut.
They're going to give it to Chad Frank. No, I'm joking.
A different race over.
Yeah, no, that is night over for Clark there, but he did end his night with enough incident points where he should be pretty high above Goody going into the final race, which is not great for me. So,
How about a couple more ads, gentlemen?
It is time to
And,
do the sponsors once again.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway is not just a race, it's a spectacle. Friday, August 16th and Saturday, August 17th. The race everyone talks about. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500. Only at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Go to WWTRaceway.com now because the first deal is the best deal. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Discover Downstate Illinois.
and we're back here. Tyler Fode's still leading the field as we are reaching to the last 75 laps of this event. These drivers still trying to figure things out here on track here. Maybe they're going to put on rain tires here next or something, because we have had quite a few cautions here tonight. Dave, how many? What are we up right now? 14 cautions?
14.
I don't know, David. You said they could have 10, which would have been 20. I think you undersold it with the amount of cautions before the end of this.
Look, I said a minimum of 20. I knew 20 were coming. The possibility was 22, 25, 30. Hopefully we don't go that far, man. I would love for these guys to run 75 caution-free laps the rest of the way. I don't believe that Tyler Fode and Scott Crump would like that, but that is indeed what I am hoping for.
We're averaging one about every 9 laps, so that would put us at 22, on pace to get 22 in the race.
But we had a decently long green flag at the beginning. It's kind of, if you took away the long green flag run we had at the very beginning, the average would have been a little worse, to be saying the truth here. And also, you have to look at it as this is being a short track, which means that the caution laps take about 5 or 6 laps too. So,
yeah, that long run was 19 laps.
Yeah, realistically,
long.
Since that first green flag run, we've probably been averaging maybe 1 or 2 green flag laps since then. So it's not been great, to say the least. These drivers are going to be able to go back green once again. This time around, Fode's going to take the outside lane. I don't know if I would do that, because that gives Garrison Hogan the outside lane. I think he's focusing on Tate Lytle too much. Garrison
Maybe.
Hogan's the one that's should be worried about.
I think they're worried about both of them. I do think these two are not in a good spot anymore, and the old tires, if this goes green at all, may start to give out. At some point, there's still a lot of wear and tear on those tires, even though a lot of the laps have been run under caution.
It looks like Garrison Hogan might be able to clear Scott Crump. Oh, it goes up quite a bit high there. Scott Crump, even with his old tires, being very good around here.
Yeah.
It's been very incredible.
Yeah, Scott's really showing off, and so is Tyler Fode. The two of them have had a really strong race. They've had good strategy. They've stayed up at the front all that long, but we're getting to the point where the race might have some green flag run at long last. And if that's the case, you don't want to be the one on
Don't say that.
tires.
Oh, as you said, that Johnny Thomas got very loose. It just takes one driver getting loose to make that not happen. As again, these drivers are starting to get some laps down here. It's been pretty nice, but as we say, Garrison Hogan getting that second place. Now is going to try to take a look at Tyler
There's
Fode.
sideways.
Oh,
Rucker hit him.
Rucker. Yeah, Rucker hit the 80. They're able to keep going there. How that was not a wreck is incredible.
Rucker gave the 80 shot
Pretty good shot.
in
Yeah.
the butt. Yeah.
That might be severe damage almost with how much the 80 hit the wall.
Looks like they're okay. No incident. Race continues. Chase Cabry, Tate Lytle side by side there for fourth. Ethan Stanley watching that battle intently. That 92 car is one that's kind of fallen back a little bit after the last couple of restarts.
Yeah, we haven't heard or talked much about Chase Cabry. Now up into the picture there in the top 5. And still really clean car. Able to try to get into a battle here with Tate Lytle trying to wrap around that outside lane.
Oh, Tate into Cabry. Tate down the racetrack.
Man,
He saved
wow. What a curse.
Our power is unlimited. Tate Lytle drops back all the way to 9th. But again, much like Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle locked into the championship race next week. Can afford those mistakes because he will be fighting for his 4th championship next week in Kansas.
Yeah. Like we said, number 1 winning champion driver in the league with the most, I mean. Yeah, I mean, if you want us to talk about a driver you dislike the most, we do take bribes. We are up to that, as we do have a battle for 4th place now. Ethan Stanley trying to get around Chase Cabry, really close side-by-side battling in that turn there. Still trying to get around there as another driver right behind them trying to make their way up to the front. Driver we haven't talked about as much as we need to. Matthew Weeks now trying to find his way up there. Has somehow avoided all of the carnage and still sees Tyler Fode out front. I think he's fine. I think he wants Tyler Fode to either win or be behind him by quite a bit right now.
Those are the two options.
Yeah, he sees 2 hungry drivers right behind him trying to make that not happen. But he needs to also look at who's behind him as well and get going here. Jeff Frankfield trying to get back around Matthew Weeks.
I would argue 3 hungry drivers sitting behind Tyler Fode, Garrison Hogan, Scott Crump, Ethan Stanley. All 3 of them absolutely must win this race in order to get into the championship floor. Tyler Fode does not have to win this race, right? He could let he could let Scott Crump win this race and walk away as long as he finishes ahead of Matthew Weeks with a chance at that 2nd championship back to back. So Fode, of course, wants to win this race. That's the only way to lock yourself in for sure, is to go out there and win. And if you say your teammate doesn't make it in, so be it.
I think they're also probably worried with how long of a green flag run we've had at this point now, because they still have yet to make a pit stop. And they were fine with cautions coming out every lap. But now we're coming up on 10 laps of green. This may end up setting in motion for them to have to pit.
Yeah, we don't know their pit strategy. We don't know their fuel situation. If they've been saving consistently for as many cautions as we've had in this race, I feel pretty confident they can just kind of keep running. But, it might get close.
Still side by side. I think now going on somewhere around like 7 laps now. Matthew Weeks just has not figured out how to pass people. I think it's come down to in the last 4 or 5 races. He's been able to do really well, but driving underneath somebody has given him nightmares. I think
Yeah,
at
it
this
has.
point, just can't
Weeks-
get it to work.
Yeah, Weeks has definitely run into finding struggles, with completing those passes on the bottom of the racetrack. Guys are able to pin him down, and I think that's a benefit of Weeks. He's really gained a reputation of being a clean driver. I think Tyler Fode talks about it every time he gets into the interview booth. He says, look, I race Matthew Weeks hard because I can race him clean. He's a guy who's going to race me clean. He's not going to make any mistakes. And that's not how Matthew Weeks used to be, right? He used to be a more aggressive driver. He's really mellowed out. He's been very strong when it comes to car control, keeping it off of people, and these guys feel comfortable racing him harder and harder, and that's why he's not able to make these passes. Here comes Garrison Hogan on Tyler Fode.
Oh, he's got a good run on him. He's going to probably look down below. If not this time, but next time, he had a really good run out of the turn. I think Tyler Fode is starting to get those back tires starting to spin, and you can see it right there. 36 off the turns, able to put down the power a lot more than that 40. And the 40 blinks out a little bit. Oh, no.
Yep. Hogan backed up. Ethan Stanley almost got into him. 92 car got really loose, and that brings Scott Crump back into the mix.
36 is going to be making a move here before too long. He's going to have to. Ethan Stanley is not going to wait for him to make that move. Ethan Stanley's going to try to pounce anytime he gets the chance. So right now, 36 has to find a way to get around Tyler Fode before too long here. And I know you said that they feel pretty good. On fuel, I don't think so anymore.
It's one of those where I've actually won a race doing this, right? Track, I think it was Darlington, where if you get enough cautions, it doesn't really matter what the tire wear is. You can kind of stretch it the whole rest of the way. We've seen it at other short tracks in Elite. I know Weeks has won multiple races like this as well. Garrison Hogan throwing the block.
Oh, Tate Lytle got underneath Chad Frankenfield and nearly lost it. They made
Tate got loose as Garrison Hogan got loose, and now Ethan Stanley side by side with him for second.
Side by side. Now Ethan Stanley's going to have that preferred line on the outside. It's going to try to pinch him down. That's going to allow Ethan Stanley to try to make that pass here, and then he's going to go after his teammate, who's going to be a little bit more lenient on him, able to get that pass by paper's width and get in front of the 36 there. So Ethan Stanley now has a shot to be able to go up there with a little more than 50 laps left to go in this event.
And remember, Tyler Fode does not have to win the race. Ethan Stanley absolutely does have to win the race, and those guys are teammates. I don't think Tyler Fode's going to pull over for him, but if Tyler Fode finishes second to Ethan Stanley, I think he'll be quite happy with that result.
I would feel pretty comfortable saying that Tyler Fode has wrapped up not only the lap led, but the most laps led of the night. So that will be another point going to his pool there above Matthew Weeks, and that will put 2 now.
Yeah, Weeks was unable to get around Hunter Smith. He's stuck in 7th behind Smith, so even if Fode were to fall to 9th from here, he would still, I believe, get that spot over Matthew Weeks because he's got those extra points. Might be 8th behind him. I'm guessing Weeks has the tiebreaker based on being the regular season champion. Not sure how that works. We'll get it. Oh, there goes Hunter Smith.
Oh, Hunter Smith getting loose coming out of the turn. Well, that's a way Matthew Weeks can be able to pass him.
There you go. Weeks got around him just like that. It was easy.
Driver getting up into the top 10. Nick and Delicato just being persistent. 3 wide going into turn number 1. Whoa! Scott Crump threw it underneath Garrison Hogan. 39 still trying to find a way above Scott Crump. I don't know. The flip has switched for Garrison Hogan. Running very strong, and I'm not sure what happened.
He must have burned his tires off, right? Trying to get the lead from Tyler Fode. Really started pushing it, warmed things up. Hogan's on older tires. He's certainly not on the fresher rubber. That's going to be Ethan Stanley and Chase Cabry in this top 5. Cabry unable to get around Hogan. He'll sit back and forth. Crump, pulls up the rear of this top 5, but Scott Crump must win this race. So if a caution does come out here at some point, 90 car will be down pit road. He doesn't have that track position anymore to stay up in front of the field.
Mixture of colors right now on screen in that top 10 drivers in green, yellow, and blue. A mixture of everything, even the black there of Chad Frankenfield and Chase Cabry running up there. Again, those drivers just out here trying to get that victory set in motion, and while trying to race against drivers that are going to be very aggressive here in the late stages as we get closer to the finish of this thing. It is now starting to paint the picture of what kind of race we're going to look at the end of this. Garrison Hogan getting loose there, allowing Chase Cabry now to go underneath him here.
Cabry down to the bottom on Garrison Hogan. Up front, it is Tyler Fode, Ethan Stanley, nose to tail. And then it's a side-by-side battle between Hogan and Cabry. And Hogan really cannot afford to let Chase Cabry get by right here without putting up a really strong fight, because I don't think he's going to have anything for those Lake Norman cars if he can't keep that track position, restart third, and try to jump underneath them on the restart.
Now, by far our longest green flag run of the night. It just took a little while, but here we are. These drivers are pretty well spaced out as there's multiple different tire situations. I think Dave here has all the different when the last time they were on pit road, just to give you a sense of how shaken up all the cautions has made all the tires. There you go, a little bit of everything. Nick Indelicato looks like he went to the buffet with how many times he went down there.
Yeah, Delicato's definitely got the most pit stops in this top group. Freshest tires, obviously, you can see it's Ethan Stanley, then Weeks, Frankenfield, and Delicato. Tyler Fode, Scott Crump have stayed out the entire race. That is correct. If you were reading that, just joining us, that is how Tyler Fode's gotten the race lead, and that's how he intends to win this race, is by not pitting.
He's doing a good job. He's still got the tires underneath him, so tires not providing that much benefit, to be honest.
Not at all. Unless you cook them, right? I think Hogan's really cooked and heated up those tires, and I feel like that 36 car has given up for it.
I think it's starting to come back just a little bit. If he can stop battling with the 39. 39 got underneath him, got him loose there. Both of them loose, still side by side. Scott Crump just kind of holding in place there, trying to figure out and dictate what he's got to do now, because Scott Crump is not in a great position with these two battling in front of him.
Yeah. Scott's got to win, and he's getting now reeled in by a couple of guys who have fresher tires, and Matthew Weeks and Chad Frankenfield. So, Crump might need to find a way, but right now I think Scott Crump's hoping for a caution. He can come try to get off cycle from the rest of the cars around him and maybe have a chance to make some aggressive moves and see if he can't come out of here with a win by getting the strategy right. It's obviously worked out better for Tyler Fode. He got the race lead about lap 40 or 50 there and has held it ever since.
And it's starting to let those two guys start to pull away here. They've got a pretty decent lead with 40 laps left to go. Cabry going up the racetrack.
That opens the door for Scott Crump, but Crump's there, but...
Starting getting a little frustration on the 39 side, I'm thinking.
Maybe a little, but Hogan's running for a championship. Cabry's in a one-off. That's not a battle you need to be fighting. Hogan fighting for his life to be able to run for that championship next week.
He pushes him up. They make contact there.
Hogan's a pretty level-headed guy. I don't think there'll necessarily be retribution, but maybe there will.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Hogan missed the corner, and there comes Scott Crump underneath for fourth.
Matthew Weeks, Scott Crump's going to probably try to complete this pass cut in front of him. No, just decides to duck down in front of Matthew Weeks to block off that. Garrison Hogan's going to, he will lose that position. Going to hold off Matthew Weeks, though. But, I don't think he was, I think a situational, that probably, unless if there's a caution, that might take him out of the running for the championship with how things are looking right now on track.
And if Matthew Weeks can get around, that narrows the gap even closer. And Tyler Fode's tires definitely not as good as everybody else in this group. That front two is starting to kind of drift back towards Chase Cabry. And we just saw what Cabry was willing to do to a playoff driver to try to make a pass. So I certainly don't think that these Lake Norman cars are out of the woods yet. Cabry just made up another 10th. That lap, he's all over the back bumper Ethan Stanley right now.
Boy, Weeks has, I would say, a little bit nicer tires on his vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Should be able to make this pass. Garrison Hogan's pretty much cooked him at this point.
Cabry underneath Stanley for second. Cabry's doing a little diamond of the corner here where he rides that car up the racetrack a little bit and then gasses it up coming down off the corner, and he is able to get such a run on the straightaways. These guys do not have anything for that 39 car right now, and we know Chase Cabry's a guy who races professionally in real life. He's a guy kind of and jumping in to take advantage. And here he is. He's going to come impact this championship fight.
Ethan Stanley ducks it back underneath him, kind of maneuvered him up the racetrack. Now Ethan Stanley is going to look down below. I don't think he's going to have anything for that 39, able to get himself clear. And now Matthew Weeks finds himself in 5th, going at Scott Crump. But I think the driver, looking in his mirror, realizing that this might be the end of his leading this race, is going to be Tyler Fode, seeing how fast that 39 is getting to him.
Yeah, look, Diamond did it. He drives it off. He's exiting lower than Fode, but he's in the center of the corner, much higher than Tyler Fode.
And honestly, for Tyler Fode and Matthew Weeks, I don't think they mind Chase Cabry being in this race all too much. Maybe Fode a little bit with him leading the race, but for Matthew Weeks, I think he's perfectly fine with the 36 or 39 showing up for this race to take home the prize.
Here comes Scott Crump and his 168 lap old tires for 3rd on teammate Ethan Stanley, who seems to have kind of burned his up trying to go after Tyler Fode as well. It's funny that Matthew Weeks is Chase Cabry's biggest fan right now. That's how Matthew Weeks gets into this. If either of those two cars that are battling in front of Weeks win this race, Weeks will not make the Final Four, but either one of Tyler Fode or Chase Cabry win this race, Matthew Weeks is into the Final Four, and he will battle for a championship next week.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks just hopes that he's on the other foot there. He's been blocked so much in the last few races. He would love to be in front of both the 92 and the 90 and making sure that no one new wins this race.
Oh, Stanley sideways. I think it's going to give Scott Crump, as we see Seth Rawls go around on the front straightaway, almost brought out the caution, but Rawls able to get off the track. Stanley lost the 3rd spot to Crump. He might lose 4th to Matthew Weeks here on the front straightaway.
Chase Cabry's getting a lot higher line now. He's driving a lot higher up the racetrack. It is working, though. He is going to have a look to the inside. This is going to be a battle for the lead. Tyler Fode cuts it off there. But again, Tyler Fode has to get this exit down right as they go around the lap car of Michael Goodman there. We are down less than 30 laps left to go. Look how high of a line Chase Cabry has. Just trying to find the groove to be able to go around. Wow, what a move! Tyler Fode puts a big block. Oh no, he's got to come down.
He's out of fuel. Oh,
he is out of fuel. I didn't think he could make it.
Wow.
No. Well, I mean, Tyler Fode really wants Chase Cabry to win this. Why was he blocking him? He would want Chase Cabry.
I think Fode was coming down pit road. I think he was dedicated. I think that means Scott Crump's also going to have to come down pit road here momentarily, either the next 2 or 3 laps. And the no pit strategy fails Tyler Fode. That might knock him out of the Final Four. This will give 20 positions to a Garrison Hogan potentially.
He led the most laps and lap led. Garrison Hogan has not led a lap. Oh, Garrison Hogan's getting used up. Chad Frankfield, 3 wide. Nick Delicato. Oh, boy, into the wall.
Hogan's the only one that can take advantage. Hogan has to have these spots.
And with his tires being cooked, it is not going his way right now. And of course, we go back to what happened to David Tooker with the incident he had. Oh, man, that took him out of the chance of being able to capitalize on this as well.
Scott Crump coming down pit road. Weeks is underneath Scott Crump in turn 3, so it's not this lap for sure.
Chad Frankfield's kind of holding up a dam right now.
Yeah, he is.
He's got a lot of invested people in this championship right behind him. 5 of them in total.
Nick Delicato's still in 6th. We've seen him around like 3 or 4 times today, but I guess technically not out of this thing yet. Chase Cabry is gone though.
He's seen his pit crew tonight more than most people do their family members in a year's time. But he's still trying to get around Chad Frankfield. They have caught up to Ethan Stanley. Ethan Stanley is off the pace a lot right now.
That
what in the world? Oh my goodness! Ethan Stanley almost around.
Burned his stuff up. Now Ethan Burrell will pin Nick Delicato on the outside behind Stanley. Chad Frankenfield into 4th.
We'll be 3rd if we don't get a caution.
So we might interview Chad Frankenfield tonight. How about that?
You can tell him all the things you thought about him earlier on.
certainly would be surprised that we were talking to Chad after the way the first 2 or 3 laps went there.
Tyler Fode, watch Tyler Fode. He's trying to get through the field to get himself back on the lead lap. It is, Garrison Hogan almost got turned there.
Odie is very fast. Got 22 laps. And if this thing stays green, he is significantly faster than everybody here. I wonder how far up the field he can make it.
I think he'd be fine.
He might get into the top. He might get into the top 15. He might get into the top 10.
I don't know about that.
Scott Crump on pit road.
That's heartbreaking for Scott Crump because although Tyler Fode, his championship's hopes are not dashed, Scott Crump's is, and we stated in the beginning the only thing that could really ruin Scott Crump's chance at getting in is Scott Crump, and that strategy I didn't like it as much as you did. I liked it in the beginning, but I did not like the screen flag run with their chances. If I was them, pitting early and just kind of having 20 laps more fuel would have been helpful.
Yeah, it's tough, and it kept them in the hunt by not getting them involved in incidents. Right, we saw David Tugger taking out an incident. Their teammate Ryan Gable was on this same strategy, pitted and immediately got wrecked. And now they've got a chance under green to make up spots and run fast lap times and try and go and get these, as many positions as they can get right here. But it's going to be too little too late. And what a disappointment for Scott Crump, a guy who we really thought was one of the favorites coming into tonight to win this race. And he is now in a mess on the front straightaway. Michael Hosak is up to 7.
Wide. Oh no, Garrison Hogan did not know they were 3 wide.
Johnny gonna get by Hogan, then he'll yield to Scott Crump, who's gonna have fresh tires on the bottom. Oh no, he didn't yield to him. Johnny's going after Ethan Stanley.
I think Scott Crump maybe just took 2 tires there, but yeah. So it's probably not handling just great just as of yet.
Tyler Fode is just about to pass Chase Cabry right now, and yeah, he will not be winning this race tonight, but Tyler Fode can certainly make up some spots in front of him. He's got guys not that far up the road that he can go get positions on, and every spot he gets is a little more distance between himself and Garrison Hogan should something catastrophic happen in the next 16 laps.
I don't know what Ethan Stanley does to his tires, but it's criminal. it's definitely criminal because he is. We've seen it all season long. We've talked to him about it, and he just, with this next gen car, him and these tires, he is so fast and so good on the short run, and it always ends up leading to this, where he is just in the way, essentially. And boy, I would say out of anybody this season, I think Ethan Stanley has probably used up his steering wheel more than anybody, with how much he's had to fight these ill-handling cars at the late runs.
Yeah, how about this guy up here in 6th place, Michael Hosak? We really do not talk about him very much at all.
No.
We've seen him in the wall a couple of times tonight.
Yeah.
And he has had a masterful run this run where he has saved the tires. This 24 car is on rails right now. He's running some of the best lap times on the racetrack. Just a fantastic run for Michael Hosak, and a guy that we don't get to talk about very much. And same goes for Jordan Owens up here in 8th spot. Jordan is having a great run. He's just going around Tate Lytle right now.
We got a battle for third. Ethan Burrell able to get side by side with Chad Frankenfield. He's going to have the preferred line. Yeah, he got a really good run out of there. So maybe we won't be talking to Chad. Ethan Burrell able to get around Chad Frankenfield on that high end there. Now Nick Indelicato trying to lead the charge of drivers with a must-win situation. Going to try to see if he can get around Chad Frankenfield in hopes that there is some kind of caution in the late stages here. And there still could be. There's definitely still could be.
Don't look now, but Matthew Weeks has cut this lead of Chase Cabry's down underneath 0.9 of a second. He's a little bit faster lap in and lap out. Ran a 23.50 last time. Cabry ran a 23.55. Little bit faster is that 11 car right now, and if Cabry gets into some lap traffic, Ryan Gable's right in front of him, that could open the door for Matthew Weeks to come up here and try to steal the win away from Chase Cabry.
I think it's before it's all said and done, Tyler Fode should, with the lap times he's running, he should gain about 5 more spots, which will essentially, as long as there's not a new winner, will guarantee that he makes it into the next round.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Ethan Stanley! Oh no! He spun out almost on the straightaway. He went almost into the grass. He got so sideways.
He is on ice right now.
Oh my gosh! There's no tires on it. There's no tires.
Ethan Stanley
He's
is on ice right
blown
now.
a tire.
Yeah.
He had to have blown a tire. But how
I don't
that's
know about-
driving right now, I don't know. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, this is rough for Ethan Stanley. Michael Hosak is challenging Nick and Delicato up here for this spot. He's also challenging Chad Frankenfield. They're side by side for that 4th spot between the 10 and the 15. Crump's trying to get through on his fresh tires, and Jordan Owens is looking on from 7th.
Good battling there. Chad Frankenfield is not giving any room, giving a door. In fact, he didn't give a room, but he did
This
give a.
might be the caution that we were talking about right here.
I mean, a door is a part of a room, I guess. So maybe that's what he's thinking he did.
Delicato will get by that 15 car, and Hosak coming for the top 5 right now.
Right now, Nick and Delicato is trying to get as many spots as he
here
can.
comes
He's gonna need a
Hosak.
caution. Yeah, Hosak, really good run on the outside, but it's going to be 3 wide. Scott Crump is going to try to dive below there. He's not going to give Chad Frankenfield any room either. Oh, man. Shot him up the racetrack.
I'm hoping for Hosak to get through this unscathed.
Oh, no! Chad turned Scott Crump on the straightaway. Oh, Michael Hosak, that's you this time. That's so
That
you.
is me, dude. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh.
Oh, and he's not happy with Chad.
Hosak very unhappy with Chad. Yeah, and I completely understand Hosak's frustration.
Man.
And we were talking about how well this 24 car managed the tires on this run. He was hunting for a top 5 finish.
His best run of the season.
Yeah, and Scott Crump out of the chase. He's obviously frustrated, but he has the fresher tires. And at this point, Chad Frankenfield needs to let that 90 car go and finish the race inside the top 10. Instead, he
the
fights
situation
3
happened
wide.
on the outside, coming down the front straightaway. Look how much room is Chad
Ethan
on the
Burrell.
outside. Look how much room he has.
Yeah, Ethan Burrell stayed out. Jordan Owens has stayed out. Chad stayed out, but I would hesitate to believe that Chad will be remaining in this race. I think we've certainly pinned this one on the 15 car. Scott doesn't look like he comes up. I mean, Scott's got to exit the corner somewhere, but there is definitely room to the top. This top 5 is very interesting. Brent Jones is now 3rd.
Oh man, that's just.
I'm sickened for Michael.
I feel
absolutely sick,
yeah.
man. That is a guy who I want to find his best finish. I'll be back. I'm looking for.
Well, while you're doing that, let's go ahead and after we see one more shot of this, as yeah, rough. They did give the tally over to Chad Frankenfield, who has appealed it. So, not what we wanted to see up there, but this does kind of change the complexion. Chase Cabry come down pit road, which is very shocking that Chase Cabry decided to come down pit road. We've seen how well old tires can hold up out there. Matthew Weeks saying, I'm gonna throw blocks to anybody that I need to, because they've done it to me so far this season. Now finds himself out front. Ethan Burrell is going to be starting in the 2nd. The closest guy in a must-win situation is Nick and Delicato. This is he came down pit road and was able to jump in front of Chase Cabry. Tyler Fody, this actually worked out really well for him. He does not have that many lap old tires. Was able to get back on the lead lap. But I mean, we got Chad Frankenfield, Jordan Owens, Brent Jones, which we haven't talked a lot about either of those drivers, Justin Vandermeer. So some drivers that maybe are either out of tires or throwing a Hail Mary right now at a chance. Unless if there's some cautions to play a part of this, I don't think any of those guys can really be able to make a run at trying to get it.
Yeah. So Michael Hosak's best finish of the season was 13th. His last top 5 came July 25th, 2023 at Daytona in this series. So just gut wrenching.
Gutted. Yeah. Gutted.
Absolutely gut wrenching for Michael Hosak. Green, white, checkered. Chad's.
So we got some questions in there. Blue are the drivers that are in right now on points.
Yes.
Drivers that are guaranteed in with previous wins are in green. Drivers in orange are pretty much at this point in a must-win situation.
Yes.
So drivers in blue are just trying to hold in place. Drivers in orange are trying to get in. We are going to be going back green here. It will be a green, white, checkered here. Oh, Chad Field got
the
loose
boot
out of the turn there. Green flag is out there. Oh, they're going to wreck going into turn number 1.
They're trying to.
3 wide.
3 wide, coming off a 2. Owens around.
Owens in the wall hard.
Green around. Tucker in the wall.
No caution.
No caution. No caution. Brent Jones up here in the top 5, battling hard. He's not going to be able to hold on. Tyler Fody to 3rd.
White flag.
White flag is out. It will be a race back to the checkered. Hopefully the drivers are off the back straightaway.
Spins it.
Up the racetrack, but it is Matthew Weeks out front. He's got
Dylan Cotto hard in the wall.
He's got it all in front of him. It's going to be just him. He didn't need to come in to win it, but he will be able to do so. He's going to lock himself in and get himself into the championship for the regular season champion, Matthew Weeks.
Ethan Burrell finishes 2nd. Chase Cabery rallies to 3rd. Tyler Fody finishes it in 4th. Tate Lytle comes home 5th. How about old Johnny Thomas in 6th? Ethan Stanley's fresh tires paid off. He runs 7th. Hunter Smith finishes in 8th. And Brent Jones takes home 9th. Garrison Hogan finishes 10th. He will not race for the championship next week. It will be the 2 drivers that we had penciled in blue all night long, Matthew Weeks and Tyler Fody, that will race for the championship against Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle. And those guys finished 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th in this race. Next week is probably going to be a very spectacular fireworks type of show from 4 guys that are really, really fast and really, really hungry to win a championship and have battled each other for years and years. So next week should be awesome.
3 of them are previous champions too, so 3 of them know how to get it done, and the other one's Ethan Burrell, which is no slouch at being able to get champions. So 3, I would say, very heavy veterans of Elite, probably the veterans of Elite, if you had to place them down as going to be 2 Pro Edge drivers and a do-good driver and a Lake Norman driver going to be into that championship for. Cannot wait. Let's go ahead and go through the field. You did the top 10. Right outside the top 10, Ryan Schold. Oh, okay. Hey, Johnny. Ryan Schold in 11. Joshua Clark, 12. Justin Vandermeerl in 13th. Ryan Gable, 14th. Wyatt Canado, 15th. Chad Frankenfield, after it all said and done, comes home 16th. David Tooker, not the night he wanted, wrecked out there at the end. 17th. Jordan Owens, 18th.
I'm gutted for Jordan Owens too. That was a really, really good run. He should have finished in the top 10. Got wrecked there on the last restart.
Jeff Green finishes in 19th. Some drivers that are going to be very upset with how things went. Nick Indelicato, who was the final wreck was the final straw for his car. Finishes the last car on the lead lap in 20th. Scott Crump, 21st. Nick Massey, 22nd. Mark Rebellis, 23rd. Awful night for, well, good night. Gone.
It was a great night for Michael Hosak.
Michael Hosak back there in 24th. Michael Goodman comes home 25th. Jesse Racimas, 26th. Andrew Rucker, 27th. Seth Rawls, 28th. Justin Wadsworth, 29th. Trey Holmes, 30th. Gavin Hibbs, 31st. Richie Hearn, 32nd. Ty McIntosh, 33rd. Chase Christopher, 34th. Kyle Hanshaw, 35th. Joshua Personette, 36th. And last is Dustin Dewar. 20 cars finished on the lead lap. It was an interesting night, if it's all said. But, our top 4, our top 5 are the drivers. 4 of them are ones that got themselves locked in. So,
them and one guy who was not racing for the championship, but he was racing for the win tonight, and it almost got there, but in the end, the late caution doomed you there, Chase. Take us through your night.
Yeah, I was just telling them my phone actually went off and said the Elite is now live, and I was like, oh man, I normally race in real life on Wednesday, so got in the room. I didn't have any laps, and I figured 200 laps is plenty enough time to learn, and I just kept chipping my way through and kind of got stagnant about 14th, and just kept picking them off one by one, and then I got to racing inside the top six, and yeah, I think I was really good on the long run because I was so slow to start the runs because I didn't have the speed that they had. So I was able to be pretty good on the long run, and it took me a long time to get around Garrison, and then got up to third, got to second, and then Fody had to pit. So yeah, I thought I was gonna, it might have been really tight with Matthew. He was chipping away at it inch by inch. So he was driving really good there at the end. I was trying to do everything I could to maximize time, but yeah, he sketched me, and then the caution came out, and I mean, I just thought I needed to pit, and then I saw a bunch of people stay out, and when they crashed off of turn two with 2 to go, I was kind of hoping that'd bring a caution because it would have got me another row or two up, and then it's a little bit easier to fight. But once I saw the white flag, I kind of Hail Married in 3 and 4, and it kind of worked out. But yeah, would have liked to win, but it is what it is.
Well, before we let you give your sponsor shout outs, give us an idea what it's like to come into to a race like this, knowing that these guys are racing for a championship, and also trying to be able to still make the passes with how hard they have to run in a must-win situation, because it amps up everything on racetrack, and I'm sure you could probably feel that out there.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, Gerald, I didn't know who was fighting for it. Normally they have the playoff banners, like the rear spoiler, like we have in the Xfinity in the truck. Well, I had no idea who I was fighting with, and I just didn't want to take anybody out. And I just, I needed to play it safe just to not take someone out. But I wasn't sure who was in, who was out, who needed points. So I was just going for the win.
Well, let's go ahead and hear your sponsor shout outs here, and for a good third place finish from driving from the back of the field.
Yeah, sorry. I got to thank all you guys for putting on the broadcast, Chad, and the guys for putting the league on. And the boys are driving good tonight. Everyone is running really hard, so it was a lot of fun. And thank God for allowing us to get on here and have fun with each other and do it every week. So, yeah, head off to Sonoma tomorrow, and these guys are going to battle it out for the championship.
Absolutely. Again, congratulations on a good run there, and good championship hopes for you for next week in the Xfinity Series.
Thank you.
That was Chase Caber. Let's go ahead and bring up our second place driver there. For old Do Good, that would be Ethan Burrell.
There he is.
There you go. Ethan Burrell, you got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right, good. Well, Ethan, we saw what kind of night you had here. You got into a couple incidents there, but not as bad as a lot of those others. And then it was just kind of situational where so many different strategies on track with people pitting at different times and everything. What do you think the key to try to get the track position? Was it more track position, or was it more survival at some points?
It was both. It was really hard to pass, and the setup was not good. It was it was really, it just wasn't in the track. You were tight, you were loose, you had to downshift, and that time I self spun earlier in the race. I thought I did everything like normal, and all of a sudden I lost it. It was rough, but yeah, it was just get off sequence and try something. And thankfully, I was having a pit to repair damage and put tires on, and then I got all the damage fixed, and then we went green for a long time. So that gave me the track position. Really, I know a lot of those guys were just staying out because why not if we kept wrecking, but it worked out. I stole a podium. I'm happy. My buddy Weeks won his way in, so it turned out pretty good. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, Ethan. Let's look forward now. After this chaotic race, you're gonna fight for your first championship next week at Kansas, man. Have you, what are you expecting as you fight with? Looks like Tate, Fody, and Weeks. It's four guys have been battling each other for years and years now. So what are you expecting next week?
I was hoping for at least a couple different names in there next to mine. Those are probably three of my top guys to in elite, in my opinion. So it's gonna take a lot. I mean, it's gonna take a perfect day. I mean, everything. Gonna have to have flat out pace, be able to manage the tires and the track position at the same time, and try to outsave literally three of the best tire savers in the league. Gonna need some luck. Yeah, it's all I can really do is just try to get some testing in. I need to get started on that and try to qualify good and just put myself in good positions, man, and not to think about it throughout the race. Just think about going and winning. That's kind of the best you can do. So it's I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be prepared and confident, but it's gonna be tough.
Well, we'll hear more from you in tomorrow night's podcast with Johnny Thomas as he interviews the 4 championship hopefuls, and that'd be one of you, Mr. Ethan. You know that podcast fairly well, so we'll hear more of your championship aspirations there. We want to go ahead and let you do your thank yous and shout outs here tonight for another solid top 3 finish for Do Good.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out all the Do Good guys. They stuck it out. It was a long night. But we pulled through. We persevered. Shout out to you guys. A huge shout out to you guys on whenever we have a race like that, man. I'm always feeling for you guys. I know it's rough in the seat, having all those wrecks, but I know it's really rough up here. So you guys do an awesome job keeping the show going. And shout out to Betty, always watching. She watched all night and cheering us on. And shout out my wife Rachel as well. And yeah, man, we'll next time hopefully be talking to you guys after a championship.
There you go. That's Ethan Burrell. Second place finish here tonight. First place in our hearts, Ethan Burrell. Yeah, we'll talk to him again tomorrow night on the podcast there, the Simply Racing Show podcast, going to be hosted tomorrow night by Johnny Thomas. Let's go ahead and bring up our winner here tonight.
I'm just failing today. Oh, Dan, we did it at the same time, and we sent it back down. Oh my God,
Matthew Weeks, we got you here in the booth. You didn't need to come home with the victory, but when you were seeing all your rivals up there potentially knocking you out with where they were running, the only real way to know that you were going to guarantee yourself into that championship was to come out and win. Is that kind of what played into your strategy, with staying out there and trying to go after that win rather than for safety of just with new tires?
Yeah. Once I knew it was going to be a green-white checkered, and I seen Chase pit, and then I checked at the standings. I seen that Gavel got the lucky dog, and Crump was stuck a lap down. I was like, I'm just going to stay out. I knew I had Ethan with me, and Chad was right there, so I know Chad will race everybody behind me super hard if I got a good launch. So yeah, it was all about just staying out right there at the end.
Yeah, Weeks, and I asked Ethan about it as well, but next week it's you versus Ethan Burrell, Tyler Fody, and Tate Lytle for the championship. Have you been able to start looking forward now that you've kind of won this race, and what are your thoughts about how it's gonna what it's gonna take to win a championship next week at Kansas?
It's going to take a lot, especially against those guys. Those are 3 of the best guys in the league. I mean, hands down. You got Tate come out here with 3 championships in a row. Ethan's been in this spot multiple times. Fody finally got his cup championship and has won a lot. I mean, to be back in here again, like last season, I had to back out because I was on vacation. So if I didn't back out, this would be like 4 championship appearances in a row. So it's good to know that I'm a championship contender. See every single season, and to be back and racing with those guys for it, and it means a lot, dude. Hopefully we can outrace them, but I know Fody's good there, so it's going to be a race. So I'm hoping for long green flag runs, and we get to battle it out.
Well, just like with Ethan Burrell, Johnny Thomas will be having a podcast tomorrow night for the Simply Racing Show podcast, interviewing you for championship hopeful. So hopefully you're able to make it there, where more questions will be asked, more looks aheads will be seen at that point in time. So we want to save some of those questions for then, in case if people want to go over there to be able to take a look and see from a regular season champion what it takes to continue that championship aspirations over to next week at Kansas. But I want to go ahead and let you do your thank yous and shout outs because you got yourself another win, and that's always good no matter what the situation is here in Elite. And of course, you got some thank yous and shout outs to be able to give for that.
Yeah, I'm glad I won at Richmond because I felt like I've given 2 wins away here. So I'm glad to bring it home here. But shout out 213 Simware, man. They've been with me for a couple of years now, and they're sticking with me next season. So proud to have them on board. We're gonna bring a new scheme because we've had this one for a while. Shout out to JV Designs on these beautiful schemes he makes me. JV Designs who makes them, and then JD Designs who makes the other ones. Man, they get me confused with their same initials pretty much. And then shout out to Tate, Ethan, Fody. They were contenders all year, and all 4 of us to make it. We really proved that we were the 4 probably all season to be here. So it's nice to have the guys that meant to be there be there. And everyone that watched, man, I hope we put it on an okay show. I know the first 120 laps wasn't that great, but that last long run to end it was amazing. It was fun, good battling. Shout out to you guys who always do the podcast, man. Y'all came in and y'all really did a hell of a job, and I'd love to go back and watch the races every time the race is over. And Chad for running the league, and hopefully we bring home our 2nd championship next week.
There you go, folks. That is Matthew Weeks, tonight's winner, this season's regular season champion, and now a championship for driver, going for his 2nd championship in the Elite Series. So congratulations to Matthew Weeks with the most momentum behind his back going into Kansas next week. Well, folks, that was a very exciting show for the most part. It was all over the place, with drivers going from essentially driving very cautious at the beginning to all over each other in the middle to back to caution or back to some very tight and good racing at the end. So it had a little bit of everything, but overall, we determined who our final 4 are going to be, and I am excited for Kansas. What's your final thoughts here before we say goodnight to everyone?
Tune in next week, guys. It's going to be a great show. You heard, 2 of our final 4, both of them gave shout outs to all the other guys. That it's going to be a battle, and it's going to be fun. I'm quite excited for next week to see who comes out of this thing with a championship.
Absolutely, I agree there as well. Well, folks, we hope you had a wonderful night. We hope that you didn't have to stay up too late for us tonight, but we want to appreciate all of you. We'll see you back at Kansas next week, and of course, and always, stay happy.